To clear their snow from the balconies. They say not only can the weight of the snow cause a potential for collapse, but a pileup of too much snow can block or delay one of your escape routes in case of a fire or other emergency. And it's a first alert weather day out there this morning. We want to get a check of your road conditions right now. Taking a look at the state of North Dakota, I'm going to outline where a travel alert is. It's going down from Minot through about the Bismarck area, south of Jamestown and Valley City, and then Kitty Corner up to Grand Forks to the Canadian border all the way over again. Devil's Lake Basin, James River Valley, Grand Forks included in that travel alert. Then you see all of these yellow roads around it. That means that they are ice covered or scattered ice. Taking a closer look here at the Metro, gonna zoom in. You see that blue on I-94 and I-29. What that means is that there is slush on those roads or wet conditions right now at the interchange. So watch out in the Metro. The rest of the interstates are considered partially or fully ice covered. Take a look at Minnesota here. Get the latest on the map for what we have going on there. Throughout the morning, roads in Minnesota have been getting worse. Taking a look in the Northern Valley, north of Grand Forks, fully snow covered. Heading to the south into Minnesota Lakes Country, we are looking at fully covered around the Frazee, Perham, Pelican Rapids area. I-94 going from Fargo all the way to Alexandria, that pink line, that is snow covered there. So you're going to need to watch out if you have to take the interstate this morning, north and south of the Metro on Highway 75 as well to Hallstead or to Wahpeton, either direction, also fully snow covered. So make sure that you're keeping up with these conditions before you head out this morning, because it could take a bit longer to get where you need to go this morning. And we want to get a check of the forecast and how it's impacting your day with meteorologist Lisa Green. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. We have a new update for you. The winter weather advisory, it's been trimmed a little bit. Northern Valley now no longer included in it, so Grand Forks is out of the advisory, and that's because the cold front that's been moving through has already passed. So we're looking at the strongest winds more in the Southern Valley, and the wind and blowing snow issue more into the Southern Valley. Doesn't mean conditions are nice up north, as we just saw. So winter weather advisory still in effect. Fargo hiding behind my letters there, but Southern Valley, Fargo, down toward the Wahpeton, Breckenridge area, back over to Valley City, those areas included in this advisory. Let's check out our live sky cam in Fargo at the Luther Family Ford down in the southern end of town. This is 32nd Avenue South. In the distance, those faster vehicles are on I-29. So we've got some snow. It's pretty light. So you can see them illuminated, those flakes illuminated in the lights there. And over toward Beltrami and the Highway 9, Minnesota Highway 9 area, you can see there's still some snow going by that region too. So there are places that are dealing with some falling snow and blowing snow right now. Looks like we are starting to wind things down in the north part of the metro as this little cluster of snow showers pushes southward. So Kindred, back down toward the Christine area, seeing some of that light snow. Hawley, Lake Park, Audubon, seeing that snow too, making its way southward. Not many areas left. It's been dwindling. So there are a couple of pockets down in southeastern North Dakota with more organized snow showers going on a little bit farther west that may affect some of our southwestern communities in our viewing area. If you're heading toward Bismarck here this morning, you may run into some of that. Here's a look at our winds. They're still strong. We have that gust to 39 in Fargo, and it's north wind. So it's going to be colder air taking over as we continue today. Visibility is down in a lot of spots where that wind has picked up. We're down to about 2 miles. The good thing here on this map is I'm not seeing any places less than 2 miles right now. Doesn't mean that out between some of these reporting sites that we're not experiencing some whiteout conditions, but something to, I guess, be noticing that it's improving a little bit in spots. Here's the temperatures. We're at 3 in Roseau and now in Grand Forks. It's 16 in Fargo, 32 in Sisseton. So that colder air really lowering our temperatures right now and our wind chills as well. We're down below 0 up in the Northern Valley, Fargo even, feeling like we're 4 below. So bundle up, sending the kids out to the bus stop. They're going to want their full winter weather gear because you see what happens when they come home from school today. We're looking at temperatures that are even colder. A high of 3, still getting some wind, perhaps not as strong as this morning, but still getting some wind, so it's not going to be ideal this afternoon either. Tomorrow, recovering from the cold, and then a weekend looks good.
And this morning, some of the school buses 2 hours late because of that weather we have moving in, so stay informed with the VNL News app on that. Lisa, thank you. Now 6:53, 2 people are dead following a house fire in South Fargo. It's a story we first told you about right here yesterday morning on the Valley Today. It happened around 5 in the morning in the 1400 block of 2nd Avenue South. Firefighters say they had a tough time fighting the flames because of everything inside the house. Fire officials have not yet released the names of the victims, but neighbors tell us they were an elderly couple who lived in that home for many years. Fire crews are still looking for the cause of that fire. A North Dakota man has been charged with endangering his disabled brother by leaving him dehydrated and hungry in a soiled bed. 33-year-old Dondaro Watts is charged with adult endangerment. Bismarck police arrested Watts at a home where he was believed to be dealing drugs, but they say he failed to tell the officers that his quadriplegic brother was unattended and needed care as they took him to jail. A coach at Fargo South High School is out of a job this morning after getting the boot for inappropriate communication with a student. The school district is confirming that Fabrice Nolan was let go on Monday. Principal Todd Bursch says Nolan had a personal exchange with a student on Snapchat that the school considered, quote, inappropriate, disturbing, and unprofessional. Although details aren't being released, school officials say Nolan was told 2 previous times this year not to communicate with students for personal reasons on social media and that he needed to maintain professional boundaries. He was fired from both his roles as an assistant football coach and the 9th grade boys basketball coach. The Barnesville school superintendent says the case is now closed on the report of an alleged inappropriate conversation between a 5th grade student and a staff member. We received nearly 24 tips on our whistleblower hotline. They said it was a conversation overheard at recess last week. Superintendent John Ellerbush says there was a 2-day investigation where all parties involved were interviewed. Ellerbush says the decision was made not to discipline the staff member and that the parents of the student involved were informed of the school's decision. We heard from one concerned parent who didn't want to be identified, but they say they're disappointed with the lack of communication from the superintendent and the school board on this matter. You need to watch out. Scammers are taking advantage of people that are trying to get those free COVID tests from the federal government. The Valley Today's JC Dodd joins us live in studio with what you need to know about these scams. JC, what did you find out?
Jordan, it has become far too easy for these scammers to create websites that look almost identical to the real thing. Now, they're using emails or texting a fake link and even using targeted social media ads with urgent messaging like act fast to get your free test. If you receive a link or see an online ad, look closely at the URL. The real website is through USPS, but scammers can make their fake website look almost identical. Some key things you want to look for are misspelled words and extra letters. Now, Jordan, like millions of Americans, I have been on the real website and it only asks for 2 things, your contact information and your home address. If you're on what you think is the correct order or the correct website, and they're asking for things like your social security number, your card information, things like that, log out. That is not the correct website.
And what do you do if you have given them your card info?
You want to call the bank immediately and have them shut that card down.
All right, keeping you and your money safe. JC reporting live this morning. Thank you. Some people in Minnesota who need help with rent will need to act quickly to get in on a state program to head off eviction for past due rent. The deadline for Rent Help MN is tomorrow at 9 at night. Minnesota Housing got $450 million in federal assistance during the pandemic. Look for public safety to be a top priority on Monday when the 2022 Minnesota legislative session begins. But even as Republicans and Democrats' proposals vary in scope and approach, there is at least one area where there's some agreement. That's incentives to get more law enforcement officers into the profession and keep them on the job. Senate Republicans want tougher penalties for carjackings and auto thefts, as well as a mandatory minimum sentence for violent crimes committed with guns. The GOP is also proposing retention bonuses and pension reforms to keep police officers in the profession, along with scholarships for recruitment and a marketing campaign to attract more people. And that's not far off from what Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is pitching in his supplemental budget outline. One of the largest data centers in the world is now coming to North Dakota. Governor Doug Burgum is announcing a $1.9 billion facility to be built near Williston. He says it will help diversify the economy in a region which has suffered boom and bust cycles for decades from oil. Uses for data centers include the mining of Bitcoin and other digital currencies. And officials say the project is scheduled for completion in 2 years, and it would create more than 30 permanent jobs. A federal grand jury is investigating the 2018 death of an inmate in the Beltrami County Jail. Hardell Sherrill reportedly suffered for days and pleaded for help before dying, while his jailers and many of his care providers supposedly believed that he was faking it. News of this grand jury investigation comes one day after the Minnesota Medical Board suspended the doctor who was responsible for Sherelle's care. That doctor, Todd Leonard, had his actions called egregious by the judge who reviewed the case. They say Dr. Leonard demonstrated a careless disregard for the health, welfare, and safety of his patient. Spotify has now agreed to remove Neil Young's music from the streaming platform. The famed singer-songwriter asked to be removed because he didn't want to share the platform with podcaster Joe Rogan, who Young says is spreading vaccine misinformation. Spotify says it regrets Young's decisions, but they hope to welcome him back to the platform soon. A Moorhead convenience store has scored a lottery win of sorts. The Oasis C-Store just joined Minnesota's $1 Million Sales Club. Lottery officials are paying them a visit today to celebrate. Minnesota as a whole sold more than $800 million in tickets last year. That is a new state record. The Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. More live up-to-the-minute news and weather coming up on the Fargo CW. That's where you'll find Lisa Green as she explains who's affected by the winter weather advisory still in place. See you over there. Otherwise, have a happy and safe Thursday.